Hi, welcome to the Heart of Illumination. I'm Joseph. Thank you for being here for today's intuitive and channel messages. And what's coming through today for me, and hopefully it'll resonate with you, is kind of a master lesson of reorientation, making slight adjustments, and then being patient and being diligent with making those adjustments and enjoying this entire process, or even just a phase, or you can call it a transition of adjustment. So a really good example, so reorientation, adjustment, patience, enjoying the process. And so what happened to me as I came here recording the video, had a really good time in Saigon, another part of Hong Kong that I frequent. And then I timed it perfectly so that I would come to this park that I really enjoy making recordings, and then record. And I usually come here for the last 10 videos. I have the same spot, I have the same setup, I have a tripod that's pretty mobile, that, you know, one of those tripods that you can tie the three legs around a chair and it can hold it. So it's very very mobile and malleable, right? So I can use it anywhere. But I have to set it up on this little solar panel stand for the park to light up the park at night. Anyway, so I set it up always in the same spot pretty much for at least the last 10 videos. And then everything was set. The tripod was set in the right angle so the camera balances it out. The camera is facing the right direction. The zoom's correct. I was standing in the right spot. Voice, the mic, everything checked out. And then as I took a deep breath, right, I was about to record. I did record a couple things for myself. As I was about to record, I was like, yeah, it doesn't smell too good over here. What's going on, right? And so if you watch some of my other videos, the park that I'm in, it's just a regular small little park, but a lot of animals come and visit, usually dogs. So it's more of a park for pets. So people kind of come and hang out and sit down. And so the spot that I was in, the 180 degrees from this angle, had a couple of big, dog doo-doo, right? So the smell is really, really strong over there. And I was like, yeah, I could probably continue to record on this side, no biggie. You guys can't smell it, and that's good, right? I wouldn't want you guys to smell it, and it's no big deal. But I was like, okay, I can make this decision at that point, right? Does it bother me? It doesn't really bother me. I could record a 15 to 20 minute video, no big deal. But yet, what do I really want in this moment, right? And it wasn't something I just had to tune in. I was like, no, I'm gonna make the adjustment, right? Just make the adjustment. And so basically I had to set up everything again. Obviously the tripod's still there, but now because it's facing the opposite side, and just by me turning the camera, it didn't mean everything lined up and straightened out and I can record right away. It meant that I need to make some minor adjustments. So I had to do the whole process again. So the good thing is, and that's how we are in most of our life, is that we are living processes, habits, taking steps all the time, right? Similar steps day in and day out. And just because life requires us to make a slight reorientation, sometimes exactly 180, make the little adjustments that seem a little tedious, but yet sometimes we tune in to the stillness so that it makes it easier. It provides us more energy to just go forward and make this reorientation. Sometimes it's just, I simply choose to not be in this position or this spot in the moment. Yes, it's going to involve readjustment, but that wasn't even on my mind. It was just, I'm gonna, for for the quality of the video, I'm just going to make the adjustment. The air is way better on this side. Yes, maybe it's not that far and it doesn't affect the quality of the video, but it affects, right? It completely changed the state of my being, my state of awareness, how I'm coming through. You know, maybe the same, maybe everything that's coming through right now would still come through before I make this adjustment, but just by this shift, help me at least come through for this message for you. And so, in terms of reorientation, redirection, adjustments, sometimes it's being aware, being patient, and then enjoying. I guess there's a lot of other things I could say, but let's just use those three things as the pillar. And so I find that in my life, I've made sometimes I make things difficult for myself by not leaning on, by not having these three pillars for myself. Because sometimes I know that I need to make a readjustment or reorient myself, but then resistance come up and then I give in to the resistance, and sometimes I'm not as decisive, so then I kind of just stay there. And then it just there was part of my life that it wasn't as easy for me to tune into enjoyment or tune into the ease that life gives me. And so once I practice a lot of this over time, lots of situations for me to practice each of these pillars as well as other pillars that sometimes I pull from. But for this situation, for at least this video, it is just, be connected when we have intuitive nudges or hunches to change a location, to reorient your perspective, to just take a pause and try to come back to a problem or something you're thinking about from a slightly fresh perspective. And then, being okay with making those little adjustments, right? Because just knowing that we need to reorient ourselves doesn't do it. It takes small action, right? Small, easy, and gentle actions that are, in a way, what makes it easy for me is that it's an extension of my being, is how I move in the world. And when I feel very aligned and coherent, these things work seamlessly, and there's not a thought, emotion, or anything like that. I just move, or I just stay still. Whatever it calls to me to, in a way, to take the action from the message. And then with the adjustment, just know that it's a process. Sometimes it's a couple steps. Sometimes they are just a couple seconds, maybe a couple minutes. Sometimes it's a longer process and it requires multiple steps and coordination. But the process, we usually break it down and kind of make this cycle a more manageable cycle for ourselves so that it becomes easy. And then lastly is that when anything we do, it doesn't matter if we do have these intuitive hunches or a knowing or a message to do something, and it doesn't matter if we know of the process and each of the steps and how to do it, any of them, if we don't have a sense of enjoyment, right? Yes, we all live in this world where it seems acceptable to do things that we don't enjoy because maybe something within us tells us we have to do it. Maybe something within us, because our conditioning tells us we have to do it. Or maybe our boss or someone in authority tells us we have to do it, and we know the process, but we're gonna do it despite not enjoying it, and so it becomes a detrimental cycle, and then eventually we break. We just break because there's only two legs in the stool, and without an enjoyment or at least a sense that an agency of this is what I'm going to do, I choose to do. Yes, because there's agency, there's a sense of enjoyment. It might not, maybe for some things it doesn't feel like enjoyment, but because I choose it, because I decided to do this, that's the enjoyment. Yes, so yeah, so in a way, our language, sometimes our definitions are too restrictive. But yet, when we choose to expand our language and use them wisely and use them how it empowers us, then it empowers us. So I find, from my own experience, and at times when I'm really, really aligned, really in the zone, that there's a sense of what I call enjoyment, a sense of fulfillment, even when I'm doing something that maybe through the entire process did not feel enjoyment. But because there is this, I made the decision, I feel a slight joy to do it, I feel a sense of fulfillment to doing it, then the whole cycle, the whole act of completing that task, in this context, reorientation, it's an enjoyable, loving, and empowering experience. So my hope is that as you go through life, especially coming across this video, the energy is probably pretty potent for the next 7 days, and then another 2 weeks out from there, so that life may send you signals and may call upon you to reorient yourself, to make minor adjustments, and to be okay with uncertainty of the entire process of adjustment and reorientation. But whatever clarity you have about repositioning yourself and making those adjustments, go with that, and then do it with a sense of agency, so that because you chose it, automatically a sense of joy, ease, kind of peace, and like a little bit of like certainty and mastery that, yeah, everything will be okay. And then from that place, you're taking inspired action, aligned action, and in a way, loving action for yourself. So this is a call to allow reorientation in this moment. Maybe it's physically, maybe you have an invitation to move to a new home or a new location or a new country. Maybe it's more emotional. Maybe if you've been feeling very intense, maybe some negative emotions, maybe to just take a pause, right? And as part of the reorientation, go into stillness. It's not about not feeling all the negative emotions or these heavy emotions. It's just about taking a pause. It's just about maybe just being a little playful with it. Yes, it feels a little tough to be playful when there are intense emotions and they're negative sometimes, and there are negative thoughts and stuff. But what if you can just be playful with yourself and say, okay, for this next 5 minutes to an hour, I'm gonna take a pause on these emotions. Yes. And of course, it might be that the first couple times you do it, it's kind of in and out a couple steps forward, a couple steps back. But as you play a little bit more and more, maybe the fourth time, oh, I can kind of pause my emotions for 5 minutes, right? Some people use a meditative state to do that, but you can just pause your emotion for everything that you've been going through, and just play along. I'm gonna pause, and just by pausing, that in a way is the most empowering step in your adjustment, and you're already a quarter to halfway through your reorientation. And yes, and maybe after that 5 minute, you allow yourself to feel those things, feel those emotions, be in those thoughts again, but yet you've already done it for several seconds, a minute, 5 minutes. You can do it again. And so this is a tool to kind of pause, play with our relationship with our mental state, emotional state, physical comfort, discomfort state, various things. Yet a slight warning is that it's not to promote spiritual bypassing or anything like that. It is a pause. So the emphasis is the pause. It's not to promote not feeling what needs to be felt. It is to realize that in life, one of the most powerful things we can do, and the most powerful thing, one of the most powerful realization and mastery, is that despite of how intense our experience is, we can choose to pause those things, not to hide from them, but to know that there's a power within us that is beyond experiential, external influence in our experience, because we can experience inner peace regardless of what happens in the external world. So one of the extreme examples is that there was a Buddhist monk in Vietnam, I think, in Vietnam or Cambodia. I believe it's Cambodia. And I will need to look up the history, but this is just the story that it's coming to me, but I want to just impart it because it's a good example. Anyway, the country was going through a certain level of chaos, and I think the military was they were treating these people very violently, very poorly. I think it was some sort of like cleansing, right? Not a genocidal thing, but like they were oppressing these monks or these people. And so this monk, this highly cultivated monk, wanted to make an example, and he went into the street and told his disciples to pour oil all over him and to set him on fire. And before the monk did that, he sat in a lotus position in a deep meditative state while his students poured petroleum, gasoline on him, and then eventually set him on fire on the street. And he was still, he was completely still, and made a demonstration that you can do this acts of violence on my people, on the people that believe in Buddhism, or these just my people, but yet my power of self-mastery is greater than what you can do, right? What you can do externally to me is nothing, because I have mastery of myself. And so that's a very extreme example, yet lessons from these extreme examples is to come back into balance. Come back into balance. Yes, things like these, extreme examples, really high and kind of really intense. Internally, right? I shared a story, but you might encounter other stories that are either extremes, right? Either really light, really enlightening, and angels and masters and stuff like that, or something that, a master, an embodied master, experiencing a chaotic situation and then doing something so profound and in a way heroic, aligned to his mastery. We pulled this back to our center. We pulled this back to an emotional or a holistic neutral state, and then we integrate it within ourselves. Yes, because if we try to integrate wisdoms, knowledge, wisdom, gems from stories that are too high, too low, then we also take in those states, and that's not what these stories are for. They're for us to feel, so that we understand, that we feel the resonance of the profoundness of how life as a human can have extreme experiences. But in order for us to fully integrate with ease and with alignment and coherence, right? Not to integrate something and have it wobble within ourselves. And then, of course, that takes physical time, space to integrate. Before we take it in ourselves, we bring it back to neutral, kind of mentally neutral, so non-judgment, not good or bad, just take the wisdom. Emotionally neutral, not in high ecstasy or in terror or fear, but just neutral as best as you can. As well as energetically, you can this is more of a feeling, sensing. If you feel a wobble, if you feel disorientation or energy moving in you, allow that to settle before you take it in. Yes, so we'll cover some of this stuff later on in this channel, so please like, comment, and subscribe so that I know to cover this in more detail, especially do a full channeling to do that. And there are other areas, but we'll just focus on physical, mental, emotional. And when we can integrate from a still, neutral, harmonious state, then those gems, then we embody wisdom on the spot with these stories. And we don't take on the extra stuff from the stories. We don't take on false beliefs that are imprinted on stories. We don't take on energy that could make us imbalanced physically. We don't take on energy that can cloud our mental clarity. We don't take on energy that can stir our energy within and causing us to have different emotions that aren't truly in alignment with our state of being, with who we are, and the state of being that comes from who we know we are in this moment. Anyway, so keep it very simple. So yes, to sum it up, allow yourself to gracefully, with ease and with love, accept this invitation of reorientation. And then how it is for you, tune in so that you know how to reorient, as well as in terms of knowing the process of this reorientation. It's not about knowing every step in the entire process of reorientation. Is allowing whatever clarity comes through. It might be one minor step, it might be a couple of clear steps. Take those steps and then allow and align to agency. So make the choice, and then it's okay to work on your alignment before fully committing and making the choice to do the whole reorientation. So tune in and then make the choice. And then just by deciding that you're gonna taking it, being sincere with making the choice, you've made the choice to be sincere with this entire stage transition of reorientation. And just by listening to this message and transmission, you're already taking some of the steps in a subtle way, in an unconscious way. And so best of luck as you reorient. And maybe feel free to drop a like or comment. I can add maybe a whole series to help people reorient. Sometimes certain reorientations are weeks, sometimes they could be months or maybe years. So yeah, my hope is just to be here to assist by giving good information that resonates with you, by slightly entertaining, keeping it fun, and keeping it light, so that you're fully receiving this transmission, and like I shared with you, from a more neutral state, that you can easily tune into a neutral state so that you receive this information more cleanly, and then to tune into the joy of this entire process, right? And part of the process, if you felt it in your heart, in your soul, or in your aura, or just in your being, to watch one of my videos. And my videos are timeless. They are for people that, if they need it, they'll land on this video and proceed with whatever process, journey, internal or external, or whatever they're going through. So that's my hope. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Happy reorientation.